IDK, man. That's why I decided to understand what the hype is all about by letting myself drift along. Almost every 2 days came to hear someone or the other I know of, carrying their asses to the theater to watch it. Much like everyone else, they too did the great movie spit and dance. That was all needed to make myself pursue the cinematography, although a bit late than others, but better late than never ig. Well, don't ask me my expectations on Dhurandhar, because I am really not a cinephile. Not that I was even anticipating the movie release, or that I even knew who Aditya Dhar was before getting to know about the movie. So, much like the bulk of the people reading this blog, I am here to talk about my thoughts on the movie. Spoilers ahead. Proceed at your own risk. The movie followed the documentary type progression with several chapters or arcs. As usual, the opening scene dealt with a conflict which is quite common for such types. The issue was the growing threat of terrorism and the inability of the IB to suppress the growing dangers of it on the nation as a whole. But I won't go into the history or story in detail, as that's not what I am here to talk about today. Anyone can read about it anywhere. The most impactful but long-term plan to curb the growing threats was to implant a seed of destruction inside the enemy territory itself. The need of the hour was that of a Dhurandhar, or spy, to deeply root himself inside the culture, politics, activities of the deadly terror gangs of Liari Karachi. The whirring sound of the chopper above the desert plains set the stage real well, with that song. That's dope. Really couldn't ask for anything else. The storytelling really didn't seem to rush at all, with a steady yet impactful style of sequencing the major scenes to keep the audience hooked onto their seats. Crazy ass fight scenes were dope as shit. Good storytelling always involves the slow but steady build-up for the onset of the climax. Great movies have the cinematography to effectively express this, whereas not so successful ones don't. Raymond Dakite did make a subtle entry, with that crooked face and a strange look in his eyes, harboring intense despair for his son. I didn't expected his entry in a state of his son's loss, and personally, I didn't like it that much, which to some extent did dull his enigma a bit, according to my opinion. The tight slap was a add-on, if you know, you know. Nevertheless, Gayal Hun Isliye Gatak Hun Craze was set to do some action thereafter, haha. The storyline progressed with Hamza gaining more and more trust of the Dakite of PAP, with each successive victories brought to the gang. In one horrific scene where Rehman crushed Babu Dakite, of whom he was a bastard son of, his biological father's skull with a scale weight brought forward his ferocious, inhuman, and butcher-like persona in front of the audience for the first time. Meanwhile, we could also see more glimpses of the politics in Liari and the bureaucratic ties between the heavyweight leaders and the shady gangs there, and also how no one is one's eternal friend or enemy in the zeal for power. We also saw some romance between Hamza and Yelena. Also, this proved to be uncannily strategic in one later yet pivotal part of the movie, with Hamza gaining major trust of the Bailak chieftain. The entry of SP Chaudhry Aslam was a superb one. Coming to the plot twist, Hamza betrays Dakite in one final act, the seeds of which he planted long before in his wedding with Yelena, eventually leading to the killing of Rehman Dakite, thus bringing his chapter to an end. Yeah, I know that I won't be spared by those who are yet to watch this movie, after I revealed so much of the story. Just don't give me a Kasai nu Mamout. Just kidding. LOL anyways. For those who were wondering about when I would be talking about the 26th of November scenes, Major Iqbal, etc., go spend some bucks, man. Give IMAX a chance. Also, for those persistent souls who came this far reading, thanks a lot from the bottom of my heart. And the fun part, it will have a sequel too to be released in March next year. Go, watch it in theaters if you haven't yet, and for those who already have watched it, stay tuned for part 2 and listen to FA9LA on loop, man.